G'day people, here I am at the Combo Waterhole, just south of Kainoona in north central Queensland. I'm here because...
All right, everybody, thanks once again for joining me. So, because it's way back, Greg, I gotta say, good day, everybody. I'm still not really sure if I'm doing this right, but Greg requested that I react to Waltzing Matilda, the Queensland version by Warren Mars at the Combo Waterhole. Okay, so let me read what he said. He said, "G'day, Mike. This is a riveting story about a classic Aussie song that you have reacted to before by John Farnham, Waltzing Matilda. This is the Queensland version of the song as told by and sung here by Warren Mars. Banjo Patterson wrote the lyrics. The music was written by an unknown. As an Aussie, I found this very interesting. I hope you also find it interesting on how the song evolved and Banjo Patterson's artistic license on writing the song based on actual facts." All right, man. So that's what we're fixing to get into. I saw what y'all are fixing to see, or what y'all saw too. And I'm also wearing Corbong Dave, or we call him Bongo, sent me this T-shirt of the Living End, y'all. And I think this is just awesome, man. And he sent me two more too. I don't want to reveal those two until the reactions to those two separate bands. And if those reactions don't come in a few days, requests come in a few days, then I'll wear them, because I want to give credit where credit is due. So, all right, man, let me bring it up and let's see what Waltzing Matilda, the Queensland version by Warren Mars at the Combo Waterhole. Combo Waterhole. It must be that in the background. Okay, here we go.
G'day people, here I am at the Combo Waterhole, just south of Kainoona in north central Queensland. I'm here because I'm going to do Waltzing Matilda. And Combo Waterhole is famous as the billabong where the swagman drowned himself. Now technically this waterhole behind me is not the main waterhole, it's an associated channel. The main waterhole is 1 kilometre that way. But it basically looks exactly the same as this. And I can't lug all my stuff an extra kilometre, so this is where I'm going to do it, and I hope you'd agree I'm close enough. Now, most people would think that Waltzing Matilda is a song about a jolly swagman who stole a sheep, got caught, jumped in the billabong to avoid going to jail, killed himself. And if you go 1 kilometre that way to the main waterhole, you'll find there's a concrete obelisk there and a plaque on it that says, "This is the billabong where the swagman stole the sheep, was caught and drowned himself." That's what it says on the plaque. But is it true? Did it really happen? I have serious doubts as to whether it really happened. I couldn't find any concrete evidence to support that story, at least not on Wikipedia. What I did find was a lot of hard evidence of a different story, which involves the shearers' strike and the Labor Party. And I think it's a much deeper and more involving story anyway, so I'm going to tell you that story. So for those of you who don't know anything about Australian history or the foundations of the Labor Party, in 1890 the Amalgamated Shearers Union of Australasia boasted tens of thousands of members. Shearing was a big thing in Australia in those days. They had unionised thousands of sheds across Australia. At their annual conference in Bourke in 1890, the union laid down a new rule which prohibited members from working with non-union workers. Now on the 31st of July 1890, the shearers around Winton sent a list of demands to Bob McPherson, the boss of Dagworth Station, to be fulfilled before they would begin working at the station. On the 1st of May 1891, one of the first May Day marches in the world took place in Barcaldine. 1,340 men took part in outback Queensland, and they carried the Eureka flag. This was the Great Queensland Shearers' Strike. But it was poorly timed and it was broken after the Premier of Queensland called in the military. Nevertheless, this strike is credited with being a major factor in the formation of the Australian Labor Party, the same party that runs Australia today. Now in July and August 1894, just 3 years later, the strike broke out again across Queensland, and 7 shearing sheds hiring non-union labour were torched. In the early morning of the 2nd of September 1894, 7 striking shearers, led by one Sam Hoffmeister, firing rifles and pistols, burnt down the Dagworth Station shearing shed, where they were intending to hire non-union labour. And Dagworth was the property owned by the McPherson family. It was about 140 kilometres northwest of Winton. After this action, Sam and the other 7 union members retreated to their camp at 4 Mile Waterhole near Kainoona, which, according to another plaque further up there, it's on the same channel, but it's about 13 kilometres upstream. So again, sorry I couldn't beat the exact spot. I hope you forgive me and accept that this is close enough. I think it's close enough. Anyway, that same afternoon, Senior Constable Austin Cafferty was informed that a man had shot himself at the shearers' camp. A squatter, Bob McPherson, rode his thoroughbred about 25 kilometres to the Waterhole, accompanied by 3 police. Senior Constable Cafferty, Senior Constable Michael Daly, and Trooper Robert Dyer. The 7 unionists took the fore to view the corpse of Sam Hoffmeister, the leader. 3 days later, Police Magistrate Ernest Eglinton from Winton held a coronial inquest at Kainoona Station into Sam's death and found that Sam had shot himself at the Billabong. Death by suicide. 11 months later, August 1895, Banjo Patterson visited the area and wrote the words to Waltzing Matilda to fit Christina McPherson's memory of the Craigie-Lee March, which he'd heard in Warrnambool. The first verse was probably written in Winton, and the other verse was either at Dagworth Station or at Dix Creek on the way to Dagworth Station. Now, since the burning of the shearing shed and the suicide of Sam Hoffmeister had only happened 11 months prior, they were still being talked about, and no doubt, at least no doubt in my mind, they inspired Banjo Patterson to use Sam as the central figure in his song. The The stolen jumbuck, butchered and eaten by the swagman, was a separate incident, the remains of which were witnessed by Patterson, but probably unrelated to Hoffmeister. And the drowning of the swagman, I guess, is just a more palatable way to present suicide rather than the shearer shooting himself through the mouth.
Maybe right.
But the riding up of the squatter on his thoroughbred with the 3 police, that checks out. Verifiable fact. And the theme of the Australian spirit, defying authority and dying rather than being imprisoned by the oppressors, is real enough. Assuming Sam's death was indeed suicide, which probably was. Now, the story of the tune to the most commonly heard version is a very complicated story, involves a lot of different people. I'm not going to go into it here. The version that I love, and I'm going to perform now, is the Queensland version, which is a completely different tune to the normal one, or the most common one. It's a completely different feel, and there's some difference in the words. Now, people that think that the Queensland version is not the correct version, if you look at Patterson's own manuscript from his own notebook at the time, it has the words to the Queensland version, not the common version. The most obvious difference between these two is the line in the chorus where he says, "leading a water bag." No, and that doesn't appear in the common version. So Banjo Patterson, the great poet, he wove together various strands of Australia, real Australia, outback Australia, and real Australian values into an all-time classic, which is based around the story of Sam Hoffmeister, but not actually telling his story. There's the romance of the swag, where you can just take off down the road and camp where you like, see the world.
What's going on with my eye?
There's the Australian larrikin spirit, where a man can break the law if necessary. There's the Australian resourcefulness needed to handle the tough times when there's no food and you need to steal a sheep to live. There's the great Australian determination to fight for a fair go. There's the mateship and strength of the workers' union. Finally, there's the absolute spirit of defiance in the face of a rigged system where a desperate man will kill himself rather than submit to the oppressor. It's not the true story of Sam Hoffmeister. It's a fantasy. But without Sam, the way I see it, there would be no song. And no one knows who wrote the tune to the Queensland version. And perhaps that's the way it should be. Here it is, Waltzing Matilda, the Queensland version. Oh, there once was a swagman camped by a billabong under the shade of a coolabah tree. And he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boiled. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. You'll come a waltzing Matilda, my darling. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, leading a water bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Down came a jumbuck to drink at the billabong. Up jumped the swagman and he grabbed him with glee. he sang as he shoved that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. You'll come a waltzing Matilda, my darling. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, leading a water bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Up rode the squatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. Down came the troopers, 1, 2, 3. Whose is the jumbuck that you've got in your tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. You'll come a waltzing Matilda, my darling. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, leading a water bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Up jumped the swagman and he sprang into the billabong. You'll never take me alive, said he. And his ghost may be heard as you pass by that billabong. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. You'll come a waltzing Matilda, my darling. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, leading my water bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me.
Good job. Good job, Warren.
Farewell, Sam.
Very, very interesting, man. You know, for him to sit down there and tell us that part of it, where the guy, he doesn't think the guy drowned himself to keep from going to jail. He thinks, and I don't know how he. I don't know how he rolls in Sam Hoffmeister committing suicide by shooting himself, because I don't think Sam Hoffmeister was accused of stealing a sheep. I don't know, but you can tell that Australia has some very colorful characters and colorful history, you know, and it was very interesting to realize that the unions were trying to form in Australia in the 1800s, late 1800s, you know, in order to get recognition, I guess, of, you know, their labor. And I've never been in a union. I've never been in a position, you know, I've only had 2 jobs my whole life, I would not counting, you know, in high school, but I only had 2 real jobs in my whole life, and that took up my whole entire adult life. But none of those were unionized. You know, there was no unions available. So, but I know why they do exist, and that is for protection. You know, for fair pay, fair working conditions and things like that. So I get it, man, but burning down other people's livelihoods too, I never agree with that, you know, but I understand, you know, I understand why they did it. Not that I agree with it, but I understand, you know, they're trying to get everybody to huddle together so the collective, all these people would be able to protect the collective good for everybody. but that song, I like this melody. I think it's very pleasing, and I like the storytelling. So thanks, Greg. That was a good request, and I hope the rest of y'all enjoyed it and learned something like I did. So, all right, man, that's going to do it for me. Till I see y'all again, I'll catch you on down the road. All right, man. Here we go. There's another one coming. Thanks for stopping by, y'all.